Hey SmugStick, it's everyone, and welcome to a new episode of What If Piccolo got his potential unlocked early. In the previous episode, Gohan wished on Porunga for Piccolo to get his potential unlocked, thus defeating Frieza. The Namekian has now isolated himself, until King Cold arrived, and two mysterious future warriors defeated him, warning about impending danger from Majin Buu. The like goal for this video is 4,000 likes, and part 3 is already up on Patreon. Let's begin with the story. We return back to the Z-Fighters, who are undergoing their rigorous training. Goten and Trunks did mention how there is another level beyond Super Saiyan. However, they have both been a little unsuccessful in achieving it thus far. This lights a fire with Goku, as he is determined to go even further beyond. Nobody is sure what to make of Piccolo after the Earth attack, and Gohan is still hurt. Piccolo chooses to train by himself at first, but Goku and Vegeta are too excited when they feel his ki, and they join in with him. Gohan is reluctant, but he goes with his father, only because he's determined to protect Earth at all costs, refusing to train with Piccolo and only trains against Goku and Vegeta. With Piccolo's help, Vegeta is able to achieve Super Saiyan in the middle of a battle, as the Namekian mocks him and threatens him. The humiliation of not only Kakarot being a Super Saiyan, but two other kids, and even his future self, forced him to achieve it. Now Goku and Vegeta continue to search for the next Super Saiyan state, thinking they'll be over-prepared for the android attack. Gohan is the only one left without Super Saiyan, but Piccolo is determined to push him there. After a while, a frustrated Piccolo approaches Gohan, demanding that he comes train with them, as he knows he'll be able to speed up his training. But Gohan's still very hurt and upset. He refuses once more, but Piccolo doesn't back down and begins to attack the boy. Gohan has no choice but to fight back. Piccolo notices how Gohan's movements and technique are much more refined than before, and his powers seem to rise even higher. Was his anger influencing his power? Gohan begins to let out more of his emotions and anger. How can you act like nothing happened? You betrayed us. You put Earth in danger.
If you had been strong enough, then perhaps you would have been able to stop me.
Gohan's eyes flash, and a golden aura erupts around him. He grows with anger, and his hair stands on end, transforming into a Super Saiyan. Gohan's fist lands square in his jaw. He continues to attack in anger, but Piccolo is able to hold him back and tell him to look at himself and how much he's grown. He's proud of Gohan, and he apologizes for what he did. But now they have bigger things to worry about. A true danger is coming to Earth, and they will need to work together to stop it. Gohan isn't sure still, but he realizes he has no option. Plus, it's nice having Piccolo back. A few more years pass on by, with only a few months before the androids attack. And just as promised, the future warriors appeared again. They head off to find Goku and Vegeta training with Piccolo. They're happy to see them getting stronger. The androids should be a cakewalk. Now it was their turn to train and get stronger, so they could return home and defeat Majin Buu. Apparently, the only training they've ever had was with this man named Jacko, and one session with a man named Miras, who just kinda coached them. They have a lot to learn when it comes to martial arts. Since Vegeta, Gohan, and Piccolo are all there with Goku, he actually takes his medicine this time around. Vegeta thinks Trunks is just a weirdo for only wanting to train with him. They also tell them about Shin and Kibito. In their timeline, they arrived to warn them about Buu the day of, but perhaps they could prepare earlier. Goku gets King Kai to contact them. That's when Shin tries to look for Babidi, realizing that he's lost track of him, and that he is nowhere to be found in space. He thinks perhaps the immense power surge from the Saiyans and Piccolo have forced him down on Earth. They hope that Goten and Trunks hadn't changed the timeline too much. Shin offers Piccolo, whom he realizes is the strongest fighter there, a chance to train at the Kaioshin realm in order to prepare. Piccolo agrees, but Goten and Trunks make him promise that he will only be last resort in case they do attack. Vegeta scoffs, saying that they're not gonna need him. Piccolo leaves for the Kaioshin realm, and that day the rest of them train arduously. The night winds down, and Goku invites the boys back for some paozu cooking. Trunks is about to say no, but Goten accepts. Trunks is worried this is going to blow their cover. When they get back, Goten nearly bursts into tears upon seeing his mother for the first time in so many years. Trunks shoots him a deathly glare as Goten tries to keep his tears at bay. Chi-Chi at this point is pregnant and fairly far along. Bulma is too. The night goes on and they sit down and share a meal together. Goten instantly reaches for the paozu tuna, exclaiming how it's his favorite thing in the whole world. Chi-Chi laughs at this, explaining how it's been her #1 craving ever since she's been pregnant. Goten laughs and blushes a little bit in embarrassment. Is that so? Trunks facepalms. Could he be any more oblivious? Before sleeping, Goten and Trunks train outside for a little bit, alongside Gohan, before he gets called in to sleep. Goku walks out and whispers to them, saying that he has a slight suspicion that he knows who they are, placing a hand on both their shoulders and winking, saying, "It's nice to meet you a bit early, boys." Goten jumps at Goku, hugging him, but the Saiyan tells him to keep it a secret for now, otherwise Chi-Chi will keep him from fighting. They had the best night's sleep of their lives. The following morning, news reports of a city engulfed in flames began to spread. The androids had attacked many months earlier. Goten and Trunks were terrified at what this could mean. Could it be their time travel just caused this to happen earlier? Goku, Gohan, and the future warriors rushed towards the side of the androids as the other Z fighters gathered together. Goku lands at the city surrounded by smoke. He tells Krillin and Yamcha to help the civilians, while the Saiyans will tackle the androids. Dr. Gero makes himself known. This is Son Goku, that's for certain. He declares that he will not only get revenge for what he did to the Red Ribbon, but gather the energy required. But around the Z fighters lay many dead civilians, as strange creatures hover over them, poking them with containers. The monsters were no androids. They were a darkness beyond belief. Goten wonders if they should ask Piccolo to come down, but they're worried about him getting absorbed. They have a better chance against Buu if he remains at the Kaioshin realm. Vegeta bursts forward and attacks, only to be intercepted by Android 17. Goku bursts towards 18 as the battle begins. It was strange. Gohan centered his attention on Android 19, while Goten and Trunks rushed at Yakon and Pui Pui, having a much easier time than their parents. These were weaklings. Even Yakon, who could steal their aura, was nothing in comparison. What they didn't realize was just how much power Majin Buu was collecting from these battles. Within Gero's lab, the egg set accumulating more and more Kili. Dabura and Babidi were delighted. The androids were tougher than the ones in the original story thanks to the Majin power-up, but so were the Z fighters, thanks to their training with Piccolo, much stronger. In fact, it was time to show off just what Goku had been training for. In a flash, Goku snapped towards 18 and 17, smashing them together in a burst of light as Super Saiyan 2. Goten and Trunks were in awe. No doubt about it, this was the power beyond Super Saiyan. Goten and Trunks warned the others that 18 and 17 in their timelines had been defeated and turned good, alongside 16, who was mysteriously absent. They were human. It seemed like Babidi was using his magic to keep them in check. Vegeta wanted to just kill them right then and there, but Goku argued in their favor. Android 19, who didn't have an M on his forehead since he was fully mechanical, was beating on Gohan, as he was finding it hard to avoid the power absorption, all of which was converted into energy for Buu. But when Vegeta threatened to kill Gero with a Big Bang attack, the android let go of Gohan and snapped into Yakon, kicking him into the Big Bang attack. Inside the lab, Babidi cursed at Gero. What the hell was the android doing? Unbeknownst to Babidi, Gero had programmed 19 to only ever follow a plan programmed by Gero to protect him and release his trump card if needed. This was done so in case Babidi's magic took more control of Gero than expected. As Pui Pui was defeated, Goku managed to knock out 17 and 18. The power of the Super Saiyan 2 was clearly nothing to sneeze at. From his computer brain, Android 19 activated his last-ditch effort, releasing his secret weapon, Androids 13, 14, and 15. They had been older androids, which the computer had continued to develop using new information gathered by Gero from Dabura, Yakon, and the others. But Majin Buu's birth was nearly complete. The sheer amount of battles going on made sure of that. Babidi also tried to take over Vegeta's mind, and although this Vegeta isn't as good as the one we meet later on in the Buu arc, he doesn't have the desperation of not having fought Kakarot all those years. Instead, this Vegeta isn't super far away from Kakarot, and he wasn't as angry about Super Saiyan 2, since he knew he was close to it. He doesn't need to keep fighting Kakarot right now. He has to kill the androids and stop Majin Buu so he can keep training with him and surpass him. Thus, he rejects the Majin mind control. He swears to kill Babidi for even trying. The heroes surround Gero and 19, threatening them in order to find out the location of Majin Buu's egg. When Gero didn't answer, Vegeta blasts through 19. Was he more willing to speak now? Gero was weighing his options, but just as he was about to speak, a flash of light appeared behind. It was Dabura, Babidi, and Majin Buu's egg. Gero laughed maniacally. This was the end. Dabura burst forward to battle Goku, but Goten and Trunks weren't going to allow Buu to be born. Together with Gohan, they fired at the egg. Babidi's heart sinks, as it seems like they might have actually done it. Was it possible that they could have actually stopped Majin Buu? No. Above them, a cloud of smoke appears. Majin Buu had bounced his way into the battlefield. It didn't take long for the Z fighters to be demolished. They were terrified of his power. He was clearly not as strong as what Piccolo was, but he was inching towards that power level, and that just made him even more dangerous. Once again, they were weighing their options. Should they call Piccolo down? We'll be back with more after this.
Hello everyone, I hope you're enjoying the video thus far. If you like this sort of content and want to see more and support the channel, then consider becoming a Patreon. There, you can help support the channel through various tiers while getting some perks of your own. As a Patreon, you will help get the videos out faster, fun thumbnail art, editing, and even writing for videos. Plus, you get some neat perks like early access to videos such as this one and more. So be sure to go to patreon.com/SmugStick and consider supporting the channel. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Dabura continued to battle Goku while Gohan, Goten, Trunks, and Vegeta tried to keep Buu at bay. Goku needed to help them, but Dabura wasn't letting him get away. Goku didn't want to just kill him, but it seemed like he had no choice. Krillin, Tien, and Yamcha had taken the survivors away, and even reluctantly returned for 17 and 18, as Goten and Trunks insisted. Gero was getting nervous. His ultimate android hadn't made his way to stop Buu just yet. Dabura sped at Goku, turning him to stone. Gohan was about to erupt in power when suddenly Majin Buu attacked Dabura. He was toying with everyone there. He wasn't listening to anyone. Even Doctor Gero wasn't safe. Goten and Trunks were swatted to the side. This Buu wasn't as strong as the one they knew, but he was still a true monster. Buu turned Dabura into a cookie, which terrified the Z-Fighters. Thankfully, this released Goku from the stone coffin, as he was now the last line of defense, with the other Z-Fighters getting extremely hurt. And though Buu liked playing with the Super Saiyan 2, he was getting tired of it all. Vegeta exclaimed that he was going to sacrifice himself in order to stop Buu, if only to prove that he could do what Kakarot couldn't. But Trunks got in the way. He begged his father to stop this, that they can find another way. He couldn't stand losing him again. That was when Vegeta realized who this boy was. He had a mixture of disbelief and compassion, but he still pushed Trunks aside. He had to win. Babidi called Buu an idiot over and over again, telling him to kill them all or be sealed away once more. Buu wanted to keep playing, but he also didn't want to be sealed. As Vegeta and Goku were about to reach Buu, the Majin fired a candy beam. The two of them narrowly avoided it, but it followed Vegeta. In an act of desperation, and despite Goten trying to hold him back, Trunks jumped in the way of the candy beam. Vegeta couldn't believe what he saw, as Goten and Vegeta exploded in anger. They rushed Buu's way, as Goku also tried to help. They managed to land a few shots. Buu began gathering his energy within himself. Goku knew what was going to happen. He tried to grab Goten, but he continued to fight, leaving him no option but to only cover Gohan. Babidi covered himself in a shield. Gero was caught in the explosion and completely obliterated. The fighters were scattered across the battlefield in critical condition. Goku laid over Gohan. The young boy was okay, despite a few injuries. He looked up at his father, who told him to run away. Electricity was starting to form around him. Buu chuckled not far away, while Babidi congratulated him for his victory. Next was the universe, but Buu asked for candy, and to play more. Babidi kept on insulting him. While Gohan looked down at his unconscious father, he said something that caught Buu's attention. This was said in anger. He was angrily trying to stop him. "Why do you listen to him? You could get rid of him. It's clear that you just want to eat your stupid candy. You don't have to fight us. You could just stop him. Stop it all." Gohan was about to burst in anger once more, but Buu thought about it for a second, and he was right. Babidi told him to attack the kid over and over again, but Buu looked at him. If this kid had more candy for him, then sure. In an instant, Buu punched Babidi, killing him. Gohan was in shock. He didn't think he'd actually do it, but his anger wouldn't subside. It rose more and more until Gohan transformed into a Super Saiyan 2, bursting forward and punching Buu. But Buu caught the punch and smiled at Gohan. It hurt him, but he could keep playing more as long as he could get the candy the kid promised. Gohan kept attacking, but Buu wasn't attacking him back. Gohan had offered him candy, right? So he was his friend. Gohan hadn't done that, but it was becoming obvious that even in his power-up, Gohan couldn't win. Though still angry, Gohan finally jumped back and told Buu that he'd lead him to candy if he promised him to stop attacking. Buu agreed for now, and the two flew away. Gohan would take him as far away as possible to Yunzabit Heights, where he could turn anything he wanted, like ice and rocks, into candy. At least this would save them some time. With the last bit of his power, Goku had told King Kai to warn Shin and Kibito about the events on Earth. They couldn't believe that Babidi had slipped right under their noses and teamed up with the Red Ribbon Army. Kibito teleported Piccolo down to Earth, where he was going to find Goku and the rest in order to heal them with Kibito. However, on the way there, they stumbled upon a problem. Apparently, not all the androids were defeated. Androids 13, 14, and 15 had been released from the underground lab and planned to kill Majin Buu in order to claim Earth for Doctor Gero. They were spotted flying towards the Unsubit Heights. Piccolo knew that he had to stop them before they caused trouble for Gohan. He landed before them. Cell still has many years away from being completed, but Dr. Gero was able to implement his new findings from Babidi into these three, and specifically 13. Of course, they are no challenge for Piccolo still. Piccolo instantly snapped into Potential Unleashed, which, far away, did catch Majin Buu's attention. He was curious, but Gohan insisted that first he had to eat some chocolate. The androids watched as Piccolo zoomed forward, slammed 13 to the ground, spun to kick through 14, and slashed clean through the middle of 15 with his Z-Sword. Only 13 got close to being anything of a challenge. In an attempt to finish them all in one final swoop, he launched an explosive demon wave at the trio that looked to have obliterated them all, leaving only bits of 14 and 15 in the half-destroyed body of 13. Piccolo told Kibito that they needed to move and rescue the others before heading towards Buu. He could sense his friends in peril. As they finally landed, Kibito healed everyone, and while he talked to Goku, he revealed that Gohan had left with Buu and had even unlocked Super Saiyan 2. Unbeknownst to Piccolo, the android parts left behind had reunited back onto Super 13. Piccolo had assumed that their plan was to get Gero and the others, but he was wrong. The super android was heading towards Gohan. Once there, Buu wondered if he was the one that he had sensed earlier, but he couldn't sense him now. Gohan told Buu that he was the bad guy, that they needed to fight him. Clearly, Gohan was going to get in the way of 13's plans, and he began attacking him. Buu wouldn't let him hurt his new friend, however. It was surprising for Gohan to fight alongside this enemy, but as long as he was helping him, it would be okay. But Super 13 was truly the strongest of the androids. Gero had used all of Babidi's research to try and reach Buu. Even so, he was man-made, which means he could be destroyed. In order to get him out of the way, 13 launched an SS Deadly Bomber that followed Gohan while he fought Buu. Buu couldn't help his new little friend. As the bomber reached him, he tried to push it back with a Kamehameha, but it began to overwhelm him. Just before he was completely consumed by it, Piccolo appeared and dragged him out of there. The bomber exploded as Buu turned back to watch as Piccolo softly landed with Gohan, who was bleeding, his arm broken. Buu couldn't believe this. This guy was his new friend, his only friend. He even gave him a whole landscape full of things he could turn into candy, but he also began to teach him about insects around, how butterflies were his friends and not candy. He tried to contain his anger as to not harm Gohan and the butterflies, but a punch in the gut from 13 drove him over the edge as Buu sped out another version of himself. Piccolo promised Gohan that he'd stop Buu and get him help, but Gohan tried to tell him that Buu reminded him a lot of him, that perhaps he wasn't truly a bad guy. The Namekian looked up to see that Gohan was right, in more ways than one. Buu had just divided himself into two halves, just like Kami and Piccolo. It was strange. Grey Buu was fighting Fat Buu, and 13 was fighting both of them. It was an explosive sight, but the android was slowly losing ground since the two foes wanted him out of the way. Piccolo was about to move in and attack the three when Grey Buu fired several candy beams out. Piccolo didn't know what this was, but two of them struck the android and Buu, while the third one was stopped halfway through as it was about to reach Piccolo and Gohan by none other than Goten. The Z Fighters had arrived to help, all healed up. Not in this reality. I won't let him have you. But it was too late for Fat Buu and 13, whom Grey Buu had consumed. His body began to change dramatically, not only into Super Buu but something beyond. He was bulky, angry, and stronger than ever. This was Super Android Buu. None of them could believe the power the android held, but Goten didn't lose hope yet. As long as the energy he could sense within Buu seemed weaker than the one they knew, he had hope. Piccolo agrees. As he begins to power up, the boost in energy is such that the Z Fighters realize that Piccolo is in fact still the strongest around. The training with the Z-Sword had helped him greatly, but it wouldn't be an easy battle. Buu's twisted smirk betrays his confidence, but Piccolo has an unwavering gaze. Super Buu's first move is to clone himself, creating a set of duplicates to occupy the Z Fighters. Goku, Gohan, Future Goten, and Vegeta engaging the multiple Buus. Buu unleashed a devastating SS Deadly Bomber, which Piccolo thinks he evaded, but Gohan yells at him that the move is a homing technique. Piccolo is far too fast anyways, rounding the corner and forcing the bomber to explode on the side of a mountain, but the shockwave is such that Piccolo is actually pushed back. The Namekian rushes to attack, unleashing a barrage of kicks while he charges a special beam cannon at the same time. However, Super Buu gets a hold of Piccolo's leg and swings him around and into the ground, revealing that now that he has Super 13 within, he knows everything about the Z Fighters. The special beam cannon won't do anything to him, and he can predict his moves, even if he had no records of this strange glowing state Piccolo was in. Buu threw a punch down at Piccolo, but then Namekian flipped up and fired a light grenade at Buu's face. Piccolo would just have to use new moves in order to not be red. Every time Piccolo landed a potentially fatal blow, Buu regenerates, emerging from the smoke unscathed. But Piccolo continued to increase his power, his aura burning Buu. As Piccolo was about to unleash an explosion of power, he yelled at Gohan and the others to retreat as Buu tried to escape, but Piccolo used his stretchy limbs to keep him in place, while one of his clones jumped at Piccolo to try and absorb him, but the heroes watching from further away all fire blast at him to stop the absorption. As he regenerated, Super Buu expanded his body into spikes that were about to reach Piccolo, but right before it, Gohan jumped in the way. Piccolo actually saw the attack coming, but Gohan's appearance made Buu stop, as if Fat Buu within didn't want to attack. Piccolo took the chance to kick him to the side as he got an idea. He fired ki balls all over the place, surrounding himself and Buu. Buu was blinded by rage and thought that Piccolo had just missed and continued to attack. Telepathically, Piccolo told Gohan for him and the others to do the same, to fire ki balls but to keep them orbiting around. Vegeta is hesitant at first, but Goten tells him to not let Trunks' death be in vain. Vegeta cursed. His child was only a few months old, but seeing his future version battle the way he did, there was no doubt about it. That was his son. He joined in the attack, but Super Buu mocked how they all missed. Another SS Deadly Bomber gave Piccolo the chance he needed, as he spun around at such speed that the bomber followed Piccolo into Super Buu. It exploded and forced the monster to try and regenerate again, stuck in place. The sky was darkened with countless ki balls, as a cloud of immense doom surrounded Buu. Piccolo was far stronger than Super Buu, and Buu wanted his power, his thirst for it blinding him to what surrounded him. As Super Buu, even while trying to regenerate, tried to reach Piccolo, the Namekian reached to his back, getting the Sea Sword and launching it at Buu, piercing through him and getting him stuck against the rock formation. As Piccolo swung his arms down and all the ki balls rained down on Buu from every single direction. His scream echoed. There was no way for him to regenerate now, as every piece was consumed, vaporized in the explosion. A single Red Ribbon chip landed at Piccolo's feet, and he stepped on it. The threat of both the Red Ribbon Army and the Majins had been neutralized, at least in this timeline. In the midst of the quiet aftermath, there's a sense of relief, but Goten falls to his knees. He can't believe it was done, but at what cost? Goku placed a hand on his shoulder, telling him that they will return Trunks back to life using the Dragon Balls, and everyone killed by Buu. Androids 17 and 18 were taken to Capsule Corp, leaving only Gero's influence. The Z Fighters, with Bulma's help, erased their programming, giving them full free will and removing their bombs. They also got their help to find Gero's lab, where they discovered Android 16 and reprogrammed him. Piccolo and Tien weren't sure if keeping him around was a good idea, especially since he's fully mechanical, but 18, 17, and Goten all insisted that he was indeed a good guy. The Dragon Balls were collected, and everyone killed by the Majins was revived, including Trunks. When Buu was defeated, no one could find him. So Mr. Satan had shown up to the city in order to challenge him. When he wasn't there, he just claimed the victory. No one was sure what really happened. Gohan lamented Fat Buu's death within Super Buu. He had darkness but could have been helped. Sadly, he knew it was far too dangerous, but he did hope that one day he could return as a good guy. Peace was welcomed again, but the kids weren't ready just yet to return to the future. For one, they didn't think they were strong enough just yet to defeat Buu. Above that, there were so many people here they had lost that they wanted to see again. Krillin, the androids, etc. In fact, the androids had gone away into an island, although Krillin and the kids often visited. Goten finally properly introduced himself to Gohan. Gohan was a bit weirded out, but once the little Goten was born, he saw the resemblance. Future Goten always loved his older brother and missed him deeply, so it was a sweet reunion. He also loved his new little brother. It took a little longer for Vegeta to warm up to Trunks, though Bulma insisted that he had to be nice. Shin also offered Goten and Trunks a chance to to train with the Sea Sword at the Kaioshin realm. If they wanted to destroy Buu in their future, then this would help them a great deal. Trunks loved the sword and wanted to keep it, but the attack on Super Buu had actually cracked the Sea Sword, and eventually, after a few sessions, it was destroyed. The old Kai was a surprise, but great help, as he offered the boys a chance to get their potential unlocked. This was different from Piccolo, but powerful nonetheless. Piccolo cared more about training on his own anyways, and mastering the power he already had. The boys would remain in the past for now, training hard every day, but the power shown by Piccolo was reminiscent of one the god of destruction Lord Beerus had dreamt about long ago. Beerus opened his eyes with a smirk. Could this be the sign of the divine Namekian? Could this be his next true challenge? Thank you guys for watching What If Piccolo Got His Potential Unlocked Early. This is much more like the series I used to make a while back, and I know there's some crazy things here and there, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. I hope you guys are too. I'm still working on more quote-unquote realistic one-shots and things like that, so look forward to those. In fact, if you're looking for something like that, I recently released What If Broly Was Found Early by the Kaioshin. Check it out on the screen now. And as always, thank you to the channel supporters.